Lande or your network of entrepreneurs, that would be wonderful, including to find mentors. Let me turn to Buke to ask you, Buke, how do we actually create a global entrepreneurship network, and how useful is it, especially in this field of women entrepreneurs?
That's a great question, and it's also a very difficult question. I've been listening to all of the panelists and the contributions, and I was going to give a lot of examples of programs that we have for women within our network, but I want to give a little bit of my perspective, looking at it through the ecosystem's perspective. And I think for women entrepreneurship, for empowering women entrepreneurs, the two aspects that I would like to highlight here are, first of all, this was mentioned a number of times, the right support ecosystem, building the right support ecosystem. And the second part is the recognition. And if we talk about the support ecosystem, I looked at our network. So we work in 170 countries. In each country, we have a dedicated person or we have a dedicated organization that runs our programs. It's sometimes more than one person, more than one organization. And I actually, since the topic here was MENA, I looked at our MENA network and the influence of women within that network. And I counted, so I was going to give some examples, like I said, but then I started counting, and I saw that we have about, in 12 countries, we have women influencers who are running our programs there. And I think the influence of women within the entrepreneurship ecosystem is something that we should really be looking at from a closer perspective, because we look at, for example, our programs, our initiatives, and how inclusive they are in terms of women's participation. And in the MENA region, the participation, especially, for example, for Global Entrepreneurship Week, one of our key programs, has been especially high. I think this is due to the reason that we have women supporting us in countries like Saudi Arabia, Algeria, Morocco, for example. We work with Zinab, Startup Morocco, Egypt, Israel, Malta. I looked at many of these examples, and it's astonishing if you can have the right people in the support ecosystem, how much recognition you can get for women as part of your local programs. For Global Entrepreneurship Week, for example, we actually really do listen to our network, and we come up with programs that they want to focus on as part of this week. And women women entrepreneurship has been one of the days during Global Entrepreneurship Week that we continue to do, because our network has been really inclusive in this sense. And I think this is why we've become a partner of the State Department as part of the Global Entrepreneurship Summit. For the past few years, we've been having a day on women, and this year we're really happy that the summit actually focuses on women entrepreneurship. So support and recognition, from my perspective, are two of the key aspects. But I must also say, research and policy advocacy should also be really part of this. We actually have a representative from our Global Entrepreneurship Research Network, Phil Auerswald, here, and I would like to give him, maybe he would like to say a few words about this initiative as well.
Well, I don't want to, I'm grateful for your invitation. I know that we're over time, so I could take maybe 2 minutes, or we could just pass. Okay. Well, thank you, Bouquet. And again, I run the research network within the Global Entrepreneurship Network. I have a thought about outcomes, and then I have a thought about programs and evaluation. About outcomes, if you care about economic growth and jobs, then we all know you should care not just about entrepreneurship, but about high growth entrepreneurship. So if you want to support high growth entrepreneurship, one good thing to do is to figure out what the characteristics of prior successful high growth entrepreneurs might be, and then to find people like them and to support them, I mean, if that's really your objective. And if you do that, then you find that you should be identifying, in as large numbers as possible, people who are between 35 and 50, who've worked for a multinational company, and who have lived overseas and are men. And those are the people that are creating high growth companies in the Middle East. But the thing of it is that really misses the point. And growth is really about unrealized possibilities. I mean, it's the essence of growth, right? If all possibilities have been realized, then we don't need growth. And so in order to think about this topic, in order to think about why we care about women's entrepreneurship, retrospective study is only going to get us so far. And I also think in terms of an outcome metric, I have to say, the longer I work on entrepreneurship and growth, the less I care about either. I think that creating firms is a vector for the way that people improve their circumstances and their lives. But the ultimate purpose is for everybody on the planet to realize their full potential in society, to realize their own aspirations. That's the whole point. And so when someone has a chance, when somebody has a vision and creates that vision and is able to connect with other people, whether it's through art or music or building a company, then that's in and of itself a valuable thing. So I think supporting women's entrepreneurship is in and of itself valuable because there are people who want to create something, and they are people, and they should be supported in doing that, and any obstacle that's in their way should be eliminated. So I'm really less about sort of second and third order effects and more about the inherent process. On the second point, I just simply want to refer everybody, I really do think it's worth writing this down. Don Berwick, JAMA, Journal of the American Medical Association, 2008, BERWICK, The Science of Improvement. Don Berwick is one of the leading people in public health. He wrote a paper on the limitations of randomized controlled trials. What he wrote about in JAMA in 2008 for the public health community is eminently valuable to people in entrepreneurship who are trying to do better program evaluation. And I'll just simply say that intervening in entrepreneurship is a very complex thing, as we just talked about, as Karen was pointing out. These are multidimensional interventions. Controlling upon all the relevant dimensions is very difficult. We have the standard problems of experiments, of non-stationary distributions, and of external validity. It is a tool, but I would just say, because I see it happening everywhere, please do not elevate RCTs as any kind of gold standard. It is a method, the sort of methods we saw today of large data. This is another method. And the third method is just simply one's own ethics and values, which is also a method. And so all of these things are important to entrepreneurship research. So anyway, that's basically what I have to say.
Thank you, Phil. And